Alright guys, today we're taking an adventure to Inferno, and we're going to be taking a look at a $1,000 loadout that is amazing. S2 Skins that for some reason you very rarely see in Counter-Strike 2, and yes, it is going to take some inspiration from one of my older loadouts from last year. What inspiration is that, you may ask? It is foundation gloves with a black laminate. We have field tested foundation gloves here. They will cost you about $313. You can very easily go onto third-party marketplaces and find clean floats like this, for example, and maybe trying to find a clean thumb for not too much overpay. And then what I love pairing with these is a black laminate, which you can see, and I am going to go for a flip knife. Now, my old combo was an M9 black laminate, but the flip knife black lam, $225 basically for field tested. It looks mean, it pairs into the loadout really nicely, and that means from our $1,000 we're spending basically $540 on the combo. I always say 50 to 60% budget on the combo and then focus on weapon skins. This is 54%, so we're bang on in there. Now, for the CT side, I think you should use an agent that doesn't have sleeves, because any of the sleeves really clash here on CT side. My suggestion is Lieutenant Rex Crikey, which looks like this guy. He is $9. He is actually the agent I use myself, and I have used for the last year and a half for every single loadout, just because it means I'm not going to have to deal with sleeves clashing. Now, if you were to focus on the CT side weapons first, and obviously there will be some crossover, the USP, I think you want to go straight away to a factory new Orion. OG skin, absolute classic. If you put a VP or Fnatic craft on this, you're cooking. $57 for factory new. Yes, I already know some people will be calling out the orange accent of the foundation gloves is different to the orange of the pistol. Welcome to the Counter-Strike. It's not going to be perfect. We make it work. It may seem odd to spend over $30 on the P250 here, but the fact you're going to use it on both sides, you get an OG classic like the Splash, and realistically, one simple sticker on the back of this, not simple to play, just simple in theory, brings this to life. Now, when I used this combo myself, what I loved was the Desert Eagle, because you can get the Fennec Fox, and it looks fantastic. Now, I will say, go souvenir and save a little bit of money, and also go field test it to save a little bit of money. This is $166, but this for me is a top 3 deagle in the game, flat out, no question about it. So $160, $170, the pairing with the gloves so well, absolute banger choice. Personally, when I ran this loadout, I avoided using the Demolition, because I didn't want to spend $8.50 on Julies, but realistically, building the proper theme, $8.50 for these, it pairs so well, and it's the only real option. We're going to have to do it. And then the other thing I like is an Angry Mob on the 5.7, because that orange actually works really well, as does the white that you see on the back. It's $6 minimum wear. Obviously, when you inspect it, you get this burst of other colors. But what I actually did when I ran my foundations was, if I couldn't find anything, like say Azimals, for example, which paired perfectly, I would just pick a bright, vibrant skin. This is maybe not the best example, because the pink and the green's a little aggressive, but because it's bright, accent color, with a little bit of white and then mostly grey, you can kind of get away with using it with a lot of different skins. Now, the MP9 pick will differ a little bit from what I used. I'm going to suggest a modest threat here for 13 cents. It's a bit of a shame to not have like a nicer visual option in that like $2-3 range. Maybe on that bright colour you want to use a food chain, but budget-wise, let's stick with this. If you do ever want to spend a bit more, MP9 Rose Iron and try to get an old orange sticker on it. Like I had a Rose Iron with a Fnatic Cattle 15 holo, and it looked banging. The MP7 and the next skin is also going to be one that you use on CT and T side. MP7, $2.95 for the Abyssal Apparition. Maybe a little bit expensive for some people. Save some money and go Battle Scarred. It depends how much you use the MP7, of course. And then the UMP, we're going to go for not the prettiest, but it's also quite cheap. 25 cents for the Oscillator here for it to pair in. It's not a weapon you're going to use a crazy amount, but it's still nice to have a nice skin available for it. Now, on the XM, I think I personally ran an XOXO, but if you want the colors to pair a bit closer, I think the Tech Loop Burner is the choice here. It's $1.26 in minimal wear, and where the gloves sit when you're using it in idle, that orange pairs in pretty nicely. Another area I go cheap and cheerful, of course, is the Mag 7. Foresight here, 9-cent skin. It's got some orange accents on it. Overall, it's pretty bland and neutral, but I actually quite like the artwork on it, because you got this big giant squid or octopus, forgive me, saying that you're going to win. Now, I did impose a $1,000 budget on myself here, because I was very, very keen to try and stick to it, which means for the M4A1S, I'm going to suggest a leaded glass, which might be a bit of an unorthodox pick. A lot of people would go straight to the atomic alloy. If you had more budget, believe it or not, welcome to the jungle with these gloves. Looks fantastic, but Leather Glass, $6.23. I actually think this is a really nice skin, and if you put Cologne 2016 crafts on this, like VP or Fnatic, it's going to come together really nicely and even add more to how it pairs with the gloves. While the M4A4 has become cheaper and therefore more meta, we're not going to spend big here. We're going to go minimal wear for a magnesium. And my big thing here was, I would love to go get an Asimov in the A4 category, but it's just too expensive for the $1,000 loadout. So we're going to go neutral that blends in, and that's a magnesium. Speaking of Asimov though, that's going to be our op pick. We're going to spend more in the op because we get to use it on both sides. This is Battle Scarred, of course, and it's $75.71. It's a lot to pay for. You are going to have to go Battle Scarred. But I actually quite like how Asimovs look with wear on them. So overall, and also, the foundation gloves are literally color based off the Asimov, which means Asimovs, I should have maybe picked one for the P250, are quite literally perfect pairings when it comes to Counter-Strike color themes. All these updates means we now pick up a nice FAMAS as well, you know, a factory new one, however, because FAMASs in general just wear awfully, and the Eye of Athena is one that does take that wear quite badly. So $17 to get a factory new one is worth it, and I quite like how those colours blend in with the gloves once again. What hasn't been given a crazy buff though is the AUG. So the Turkiya for 18 cent in minimal wear is just going to tick the box nicely for us. We don't want to overspend, we don't want anything crazy, and it does the job. Recently we've had a heavy focus on agents that are like from the Royal Darrells, and they have like nice jewellery, the tattoos, the works. I'm just going to go cool looking but sleeveless Trapper Guerrilla Warfare. Surprisingly $14.50, but the main thing here is the headpiece is orange with like a tiger pattern. So for the orange loadout of the foundations, it works. And for me, most importantly, sleeveless, so no clash. There's actually two options for the Glock. I'm going to go for the more expensive one to begin with. That is the Glock 18 Reactor. Minimal wear would cost you about $7.10. It's orange, it's cool. I don't think this is actually the correct pick. Now, just let me detail to you why whilst I go and get my own Glock. Because the Glock grinder can be bought in patterns that are mostly orange, like this. And obviously, this one's got a bit of white on it, and you can also get like full black vibe. But for me, I think something like this with a cheap orange craft on it might work better. But I just wanted to show what the more expensive option was, and then also something that takes more creativity that you guys can research yourself and figure out what you want to do. There's a world where I suggest the Avalanche as the Tech 9 here, but I'm going to go cheap and cheerful. I'm going to go for the Red Quartz. It's 9 cents, it's factory new. It's not perfect, but it does the job for us. Saying that, the ZZ is pretty banging for under $1. This is a slightly different shade of orange once again. You're just going to have to live with that and deal with it, but 90 cents for this is pretty solid. Now, orange Mac 10s. You've got the heat, and I don't think it's that good. So what I actually think you should do is go and pick up a Last Dive in factory new, but get a pattern that is more orangey brown. Now, you can get these for not crazy overpay. This one is $2.84. I found it on CS2 Loadout if you're wondering. It's pattern 505. It actually gets that really nice. It's the seahorse, or like, I'm pretty sure it's a seahorse. You get a little scion of the seahorse, mostly orange elsewhere. Pairs in nicely. There's loads of patterns like this that exist, so that's why you can get them without much overpay. Another one that maybe we shouldn't be spending this much money on, MP5. I love the Oxide Oasis. I think field test it, getting it in souvenir to save money. It's going to cost you just over $5. It'll have some gold stickers on it. It looks really good. If you don't use the MP5, if you don't want to, save $5 and just get like a Neko Junior or something. Or just don't use anything. Maybe you want to use a P90 and a PP Bison. Speaking of which, my last SMG slot is always assigned to either a PP Bison or a P90, depending on what fits the theme or what I'm feeling at the time. And I would tend to have a skin for both, but for this case, we're going to pick one. It's going to be the PP Bison Runic. Really nice, actually. I think it pairs in kind of cool, bit of a subtle skin, and it's 8 cents for minimal wear. And then we have 4 weapons left. Get ill. We're going for an orange DD Pat. It is expensive, don't get me wrong. It's nearly $20 to get this in minimal wear, and it does pick up wear, but what I like is it's pattern based, and it has so much craft potential with the amount of orange stickers out there. I initially did a 1-of-1 Apex holo on it. It was quickly copied though, but like stuff like that exists, and it's not going to be too expensive. Now, this showcase is what I mean. Minimal wear, AK-47 Asimov with the foundations, absolutely perfect pairing. Now, I actually used one in Battle Scarred. I got a really high float Battle Scarred one. I put some VP stickers on it. I translated the polar bear, the finish, put the name tag. I went full theme, and it was kind of cool. But for you guys, I think if you don't like Battle Scarred skins, focus on minimal wear. If you do like Battle Scarred skins, then obviously you can save yourself like $20, $30. by picking one up in Battle Scout. But this is a great example of a pair of gloves that just truly pair perfectly with the main weapon skin. And then on the Scout, I'm going to suggest you go for the Slash. Now, the best condition this comes in is field tested. It's $1.77, but again, I don't think you see this skin used that often, and I think with the gloves, it's quite a nice fit. And to end it off, a nice easy SG pickup. It's $1.19, it's minimal wear, it's the Tiger Moth. Again, a skin I also use with it. I think it actually pairs together quite nicely. And that rounds off the full loadout. So the total loadout cost here is $1,034. I always set myself a 5 to 10% buffer, and we've stayed within that. We're $34 over. Obviously, you can cut things out there or reduce things if you wanted to. And what I love about this is a $534 combo cost. You pick up some really nice skins across the board. The Asimovs pair perfectly. And honestly, for $1,000, this is a showcase of where you can build something quite unique with S-tier skins through it, without having to break the budget. And honestly, I think we're going to have to focus on doing more loadouts like this. Now, I have just smacked on a nice DreamHack 14 craft, which doing this craft alone would eat like minimum half of the budget. So, you know, just keep that in mind. But I'm going to end the waffle there. I want to say a big thank you to the YouTube members that continue to support the channel. We recently did a viewer loadout video, and if you want to skip the queue for those, you can become a member. But I would suggest you go check that video out, because I also cooked there. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button when you're around here, and we're going to catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Good. Bye.